Welcome to another awesome Feature Friday from All Things CX. This week, we're going to look at how you can automate aspects of your quality management with CXone. And for that, I'm being joined by the Manager for Sales Engineering International at CXone, James Bentley. James, welcome to Awesome Feature Friday.
Thanks, Chris. So what we're going to talk about today is how organizations can enhance the efficiency of their quality management process by automating the selection of key interactions for the evaluation. CXone Quality Management streamlines quality evaluations and boosts agent trust through automated scoring. And this is achieved through our AI, which we call Enlighten. And it's infused through the whole CXone suite. So leveraging AI analysis, it can automatically populate answers in quality forms in accordance with analytics-based rules such as sentiment, soft skills, and phrases. And this simplifies the evaluation process and ensures fairness and objectivity in assessments. So let's go ahead and show you the CXone in its entirety. Right, so Chris, what we're seeing here is CXone. Users simply go to the quality management module to then start their quality assurance process. What I'm going to talk about today is a typical use case when it comes to broadband services. Customers phone in to buy broadband services or may phone in that they may have an issue. Broadband companies need to be compliant. So in this given scenario, I want to do an automated process whereby we're looking at key phrases. So what I have to do in the quality management module is simply go into my category manager, put in the categories and put in the key words that we need to look out for. So let's talk about IDMV. Did the agent ask for their first name, last name, date of birth, first line of address, so we can identify the customer? That's a key thing here when we're identifying customers. So basically, we're telling the system to look out for these keywords that will suggest that the agent has done the IDV process.
And James, just a question here as well. So this quality management that you're creating for this use case is based around the agent behavior, but we could use these categories and keywords for customer behavior. So if they're mentioning competitors, for example, or looking to leave, we could put one of those together.
Absolutely. You can do whatever you like. So basically, in a nutshell, you're right. You can use the sentiment, the behaviors, but in this given scenario today, we're going to look at key phrases. Now, I showed you we started off a category. We built our categories and the key phrases we're looking out for. The next thing we need to do is create our form. Creating a form is very easy to do. You have your elements on the left-hand side, which is simply click, drag and drop. And you have question banks, which you may have used in the past, you can recycle. So here's one I made earlier, True Blue Peter Fashion. So we've got the company logo, we can give it a name, and we can make it the look and feel of your organization. But the key thing I want to show you here is I've put these questions in here. So going back to my original piece where I talked about IDMV, did the agent do that piece? Have they talked about the direct debit information, how that works? All this sort of information we want to make sure that the agent has gone through when doing a sale of a broadband service. So now we've got the auto response rule come up to us, and now we can see what's the rule type we're looking for. Are we looking at categories? Are we looking at the agent behavior? Or are we looking at sentiment? So going back on the scenario, we want to look at categories. So I've built my categories out. I've selected the category itself, which we built earlier, and it's all around the IDNV. And we can go through each question if you wanted to, and you can say to it, I want it automated, or you don't want it automated.
And James, it looked like there we could add multiple categories as well. So up to 10 for either the yes or no. So we could actually give the quality management engine a lot to handle to then look at this scoring.
Absolutely.
Perfect. So we built this in the background. You'll have built a quality plan to distribute those interactions based on, say, a certain channel or certain criteria. What does that then look like when we're searching for interactions?
Let's go and take a look at that. So here I've come into our interactions hub. This is the area where we store all our recordings, whether that's voice calls, digital channels. It's very easy to use and it's very easy to search. But here, for an example, I'll just quickly put for the last 7 days, we've got loads of interactions in front of us. We can pick up the agent sentiment, the customer sentiment, but also using our Enlighten AI, we're picking up the behaviors as well. So we can see if the agents acknowledge loyalty, have they been actively listening? The system's actively picking these up, so we can take a view on seeing if that interaction needs to be reviewed or not.
So James here, immediately what's popping out is we can see a smiley face, but I guess if I'm a manager or a supervisor, I want to see where things have been unhappy. So can I use these filters on the left-hand side?
Yeah, absolutely. Filters are very easy to use, as you can see. And what we can do, if we just scroll down here, we can see here the sentiment, and we can then pick and choose what type of interactions you want to see. So let's say we want to see some negative sentiment interactions, we can do that. And we can also choose from what side of the coin that is, whether that's from the agent side or from the customer side.
Awesome. Now, I guess let's have a look at this scenario that we put together for you with that category. What does that look like when we return a query?
Sure, let's take a look at that. Right, Chris, I've run a query. And what we've done is we've looked at any interactions that happened in the last month where we've had a lot of sales calls. And I want to go ahead and quality assure these calls, bearing in mind, like you mentioned earlier, when we run a quality plan, the system can go away and fetch those calls for you. But this is me showing you another way of manually going to find those interactions.
So James, it looks like here you've used those filters again on the left-hand side to really slice that data down to focus on what you're looking for, both on a category, which we'd created, and then a skill.
Yeah, well noted, Chris. So in this given scenario, we've got two new agents, Daniel and Ryan. They've been with us for 3 months, so I want to go ahead and look at how they're doing with our new sales campaign on selling broadband services.
And I guess the thing that jumps out to me here again is we've got a couple of red faces in that third column of your enlightened behaviors. So I want to look at that call from Ryan, potentially, see what's going on there.
Yeah, that's a big highlight there. So let's go ahead and play that interaction. So since you've highlighted that, Chris, I've hit the play button and straight away we get our player. And there's a lot of information in here. So we get, when we play the interaction, we can see the sentiment, any other categories that the system has picked up, but also the agent behavioral scoring here on the right hand side. And we can see the agent's Ryan speaking to the customer, and we can see again it's an inbound call. And then from there, we can go ahead and evaluate this interaction.
And before you've even touched this evaluation, it's already got a pre-populated score because it's done some of that auto scoring for you to allow you to be more efficient.
Yeah, well noted, Chris. So as you can see here on ID&V adherence, listen to the call. Ryan did go through the ID&V process, so straight away CXone is put as a yes. Unfortunately, though, where Ryan did fail was discussing around the personal data piece, and you can see here it's a no.
So I guess now our role as, say, an evaluator or supervisor or manager is instead of having to listen to the entirety of the call and verify all these things are happening, it's more we're a verification step instead of saying, right, this, yeah, we've already seen this in the analytics. I'm now confirming this so I can be more effective with my time and put that time into coaching the team.
Absolutely, and that's probably a great segue here. So once we finish going through the form filling exercise, we can submit this, and there's a rule in place where I can send this to the agent. The agent gets a notification, and then they're able to review the evaluation themselves. They can challenge it, but also you can collaborate as well and just go through the evaluation piece to see what, where we are happy and where we may be unhappy on both sides of the coin.
Perfect. So they're not having to go anywhere. It's all within CXone Agent where they access their evaluations.
Absolutely, it's from the agent interface, so they'll get a notification and they've got an area in their interface where they can see their evaluations. Absolutely correct.
And thinking about this holistically and the whole wider architecture of CXone, we can use these categories in, say, dashboards, and we could potentially bring this into reporting and even take this evaluation and attach it to a coaching plan for Ryan so that he could use this and maybe have an example of a successful call so he can evolve and get better at his job as well.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, I mean, I think that gives us everything today where we can see how Enlighten AI is taking a traditional quality management process where we are taking a lot of calls, a lot of interactions actually across all channels. I don't think we mentioned that, did we? It's like 20 different channels at least that are
Yeah,
supported with this. And we can go and find that data and make the job of an evaluator more efficient, effective, and they can do more with their time.
absolutely. And hopefully that will drive more CSAT.
Awesome. Well, James, thank you very, very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Chris.